Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced has finally been revealed, and to say that it's utterly massive in the sheer number of changes, improvements, and new additions would be an understatement. Several new details were shared during and after the worldwide reveal showcase, which has even us more hyped. Let's dive into it all, but more importantly, a clarification from the development team. Not an RPG. The RPGification of Assassin's Creed may have led to its greater heights, but there's also been plenty of backlash against all the stats, the loot, and whatnot. Following rumors that Resynced would trend in the same direction, it was nice of game director Richard Knight to clarify that this would not be the case. This remains a solo adventure and character-driven experience. It is not an RPG. The focus stays on how you play and how you explore the world. RTGI, PBR, and modern water rendering. It was somewhat obvious when viewing the ocean footage and side-by-side comparisons, but the development team has officially confirmed ray trace lighting with global illumination, that's RTGI, and reflections. Physically based rendering and micro-polygon pipelines have been implemented, and the water physics have been completely reworked while also boasting modern rendering. It all adds up to a visually striking experience that's well beyond the original in terms of fidelity. Kenway's Trading Company. If you're someone who liked capturing ships and imagining this grand pirate empire in the original, it's no longer a dream in Resynced. Kenway's fleet can now engage in rare activities and trading for passive income, all from Edward's cabin. What was once a fine little diversion is now a full-fledged side activity, and even a reason to capture ships more frequently rather than sending them to Davy Jones' locker. Quickfire tools and the demolitionists. Say what you will about the combat changes and the greater focus on parrying for taking down foes, but it looks pretty fast and fluid. The rope dart and pistols are perhaps most notable changes, since they can essentially be quick-fired, letting you weave their use into combos better, or simply reacting with them faster. There's also a new enemy type, the Demolitionist, and while the development team hasn't revealed anything about it, we're guessing that it's going to be an explosive encounter. You know, just a hunch. Shadows affect visibility. It's no secret that the developer is carrying over elements from previous Assassin's Creed games for Black Flag Resynced, including Assassin's Creed Shadows. You can freely crouch around, making for more stealth options, but it also pays to stick to the shadows and dimmer corners of an area, since that directly influences your visibility. It's a long overdue touch for the series, honestly, and it's good to see it implemented with the remake. Dive anywhere. Underwater exploration is expanded compared to the original, but as it turns out, you can also dive anywhere. How that will open up the sheer number of places for deep-sea diving remains to be seen, but it also allows for infiltrating ships and other seafronts, expanding your options even more. Shrapnel barrels and 8-pounders. Every single weapon on the Jackdaw having alternate firing options is incredible enough, but it gets even better after learning that 2 new secondary weapons have been added, shrapnel barrels and 8-pounders. The former is great for wrecking opposing sails, while the latter penetrates holes, creating more weak points for extra damage. After all, there's nothing that says parlay like shrapnel and long guns. Faction-specific weapons on ships. If you felt like naval encounters could get a little too similar, then good news! The various ships and factions have also been revamped, and depending on alliances, they'll have different equipment. This will ensure more variety when fighting on the seas, but you'll also be able to discern a ship's potential armaments from a distance. More Jackdaw customization options. Many of us have a special connection with the Jackdaw, especially as it served as our de facto base while sailing the high seas. And with Resynced, you'll be able to really turn it into a home, thanks to new customization options, including new skins. If that wasn't enough, a nice little pet, be it a cat or monkey, can be brought along for the ride. Is it too much to expect either to have their own pirate-themed accessories? Sure, but it would still be great. Objects reacting to weather. Dynamic weather looks better than ever in Resynced, but it's not just the violent waves or hurricanes that look great. Atmos also ensured that environmental objects react realistically, whether it's sails, moving signs, or even something as subtle as tossing coconuts about. And if its usage in Assassin's Creed Shadows is any indication, that's just a teaser for the sheer attention to detail that awaits. Additional missions and new scenes for Edward. Besides the new officers with their own questlines or Blackbeard and Steed receiving new narrative arcs, the development also promised additional missions and new scenes for Edward. It's confirmed that one of these involves his wife, Carolyn, which has been written by Darby McDevitt of Valhalla and the upcoming codename Hexa. Perhaps that also includes the new modern-day rifts. Either way, expect a closer look at what it means to be Kenway. PC requirements. So with all of this fidelity demand, what will it ask of your system? Well, there's good news and bad news in that regard. To play at 1080p 30 FPS on low settings with standard ray tracing, you'll need an Intel Core i7-8700K 3.7 GHz or an AMD Ryzen 5 3600 3.6 GHz, and an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1660 6GB, an AMD Radeon RX 5500 XT 8GB, or an Intel Arc A580 8GB. For 1080p 60 FPS on medium preset and standard ray tracing, a Core i5-10600K 4.1 GHz or a Ryzen 5 3600 3.6 GHz, and an RTX 3060 12GB, a Radeon RX 6600 XT 8GB, or an Arc B580 12GB are necessary. To achieve 1440p 60 FPS at the high preset with standard ray tracing, a Core i5-11600K 3.9 GHz or Ryzen 5 5600X 3.7 GHz with an RTX 3080 10GB or a Radeon RX 6800 XT 16GB is required. Finally, for 4K 60 FPS at ultra settings with extended ray tracing, a Core i7-12700K 3.6 GHz or Ryzen 7 5700 X3D 3 GHz and an RTX 4090 24 GB or Radeon RX 7900 XTX 24 GB will be needed. Across all configurations, you'll only need 16 GB of RAM, while the install space is a reasonable 65 GB, though an SSD is mandatory. So, what's the problem? You'll have noticed that ray tracing isn't really optional, and all these performance metrics are based on enabling upscalers, quality mode for ultra settings, and balanced for the rest. Console graphics modes. On the bright side, those playing on PS5 and Xbox Series X and S will have a choice of 3 graphics modes: performance, fidelity, and balance. The first offers 60 frames per second, while the second runs at 30 FPS. Balance can deliver 40 FPS, but you'll need a compatible 120Hz display. Perhaps more impressive is that each mode features RTGI, and if you play on fidelity, then ray-traced reflections are added to the mix. Regardless of your preference, you can expect a stunning experience on consoles, though actual performance remains to be judged. PS5 exclusive features. Of course, there are additional incentives to playing on PS5. Haptic feedback for feeling the waves rocking against the Jackdaw, either gently or with all the violence of Annie Bonny. Adaptive triggers to ensure every pistol shot feels satisfying? It's all likely here, coupled with Tempest 3D audio to get even more immersed. PS5 Pro support. If you need even more fidelity on consoles, then PS5 Pro appears to be the way to go, $900 price point notwithstanding. Alongside additional rendering features, with its higher graphical quality, it also supports PSSR 2.0 at launch, or even better image quality. Price. All of this culminates in the price tag, $60 for the standard edition across all platforms. Pre-ordering grants the Crimson outfit, sword, and pistol, each with a unique perk, so that's neat. But you can also splurge for $70 for the Deluxe Edition and get the Master Assassin character and Naval packs, the former offering a sword, pistol, and trinket with unique perks alongside a gorgeous black and gold outfit for Edward. The latter is more geared towards the Jackdaw with a unique pet, wheel, figurehead, and even a tire for the crew, among other cosmetics. Hey, did you know that we at Gaming Bolt upload new videos every day? Stick around, drop a like, subscribe, and hit that bell. And let us know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future with a comment below.